You've earned this. Peace of mind isn't a luxury, it's a plan. Picture the beach, picture the couple, picture the soft piano under the voiceover, the one that always sounds like it's selling you a feeling instead of a financial product. 38%. That's the number. No music under it, no couple. Just a number sitting alone in a dark room. And the fact that the person who sold you that brochure is legally, contractually, paperwork stamped, allowed to keep it. Not steal it, keep it. And there's a difference. And the difference is the entire video. Here's the part nobody puts on a brochure with a sunset on it. If you deposit money into a retirement account for 40 years under a completely standard 1.5% annual management fee, you don't lose 1.5% of your final balance. You lose somewhere around 38 to 40% of it, compared to what you'd have with no fee at all. Same contributions, same market, same 40 years of getting up and going to work. The only difference is a number so small it looks like a rounding error, and that rounding error is the second largest line item in your entire retirement, after the inflation that's also quietly working against you, which we'll get to that. Hold on. Think of it like this. You agree to feed a horse for 40 years so you can ride it when you're old enough to need it. Somewhere around year 12, the stable owner starts eating a little bit of the horse, just a little, every year. Calls it a maintenance fee. By year 40, you go to get on the horse and it's mostly still a horse, technically. The math behind compound interest is supposed to work for you. Nobody mentioned that compound fees work with the exact same mechanism against you. Same curve, opposite direction. This is where it gets specific and where I have to be careful because precision matters more than outrage. A 1.5% annual fee on a long horizon, we're talking 30, 40 years, typically erodes between 38 and 40% of the terminal value of the account, relative to a fee-free baseline. That's not a leak. A leak is small. That's structural. That's the pipe itself being built at an angle. And here's the part that should bother you more than the fee does. Nobody hid it. It's disclosed. It's in a document you signed, probably without reading, because the document is 40 pages long and page 31 is where the number lives in a font that was clearly chosen by someone who did not want you to find it quickly, but could still, if asked, say truthfully, it was disclosed. So the question isn't whether it's legal, it is. The question is what kind of system designs a number that's legal, disclosed, and still capable of taking nearly 4 out of every $10 you were promised? We'll sit with that. Keep going, because the fee isn't even the part that does the most damage. It's just the part that's easiest to point at. The quieter mechanism, the one that doesn't get its own headline, is what happens to the money after you finally retired and you think the hard part is over. Most pension adjustments track something called the official consumer price index. Sounds reasonable. Sounds like exactly what should happen. Your payout adjusts with the cost of living so the value doesn't erode. Except the index isn't tracking your cost of living. It's tracking a broad national basket of goods, weighted in ways that don't resemble what a retired person actually spends money on. Housing, healthcare, energy, the 3 categories that rise the fastest and the 3 categories a retired person is most exposed to are underweighted in the formula that's supposed to be protecting them. The result, and this part is documented, not estimated, is a real terms decline in purchasing power of roughly 2.2% a year after retirement, every year compounding, quietly, while the statement on paper says your payout went up. Sit with that phrasing for a second. The statement says it went up. The math says it went down. Both are true at the same time, depending entirely on which document you trust. The one with your name on it, or the one with the methodology buried in a footnote nobody at the agency expects you to read. This is the gap. Not a scandal, not a conspiracy, a gap. Built once, decades ago, between what the system says it's doing and what it's actually doing to the money you can't get back and can't renegotiate at 68. There's a chair in the corner of this story. There's always a chair in the corner of this story. Every records room has one, usually metal, usually folding, usually older than the policy it's sitting next to. On it, a plastic flamingo, the kind that used to live on somebody's lawn in 1990. Faded pink, one eye catching the fluorescent light at a strange angle. It doesn't move. It doesn't react when the 38% gets explained. It was there before the number, and it'll be there after. Now, multiply this, not by one retirement account, by every retirement account built on the same template, sold by the same kind of brochure, signed at the same kind of desk, by people who were told, accurately, technically, legally, that they'd earned this. The fee structure isn't a glitch in an otherwise sound system. For the institution managing the fund, it is the sound system. It's not a bug they haven't fixed, it's revenue they haven't been asked to justify. Because by the time someone notices the gap between the projection and the payout, they're 71 and the brochure's been out of print for 20 years. So here's where it actually lands. And I'm not going to tell you to save more because that's not what this was ever about. The horse was never underfed. The stable was always going to take its cut. The only thing that changes is whether you knew going in how much of the horse you were actually going to get to ride. Page 31 is still out there, in your file, probably.